Morning everyone. We are Monday the 29th of September 2025. We're rolling into, well obviously we're autumn. But yeah, well, one thing I've noticed in the past couple of days have been a number of trails, especially yesterday, which is pretty much like a lead up to what's happening with the skies. I didn't really, I mean, to be honest with you, it actually went clear yesterday after the trails. But this morning, the trails are back once again. And it was a very common theme that I noticed as well. You can see the white haze next to the trails. You can see it right here as well. I mean, like I said, that's been sprayed in the distance and it just spread out and all that, but I don't really see any distinguished trails except for that one over there. Yeah, once again, the traily morning. So we'll see what happens for the rest of the day, but I think let's check the humidity. Right, here we are, humidity. Let's check the humidity. What is it saying right here? 70%, 80%, okay, 80 odd, so in the brackets. So it's in the percentage of trails to be formed in the area. So yeah, I guess so. But it still doesn't make sense why my previous couple of videos that I've done, the percentage of humidity was a lot lower. But nevertheless, we shall keep my eyes to the skies. But all in all, yes, it's in the bracket range for trails to form in the sky according to mainstream science. Alright, bit of short time has passed. The trails are still being laid in the sky. You'd be really interested to see whether or not it continues throughout the remainder of the day. Sometimes it's a mixed bag. Yesterday went all clear, looked quite nice. But it was quite rampant in the morning. But yeah, here we go. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's a fair few trails about, I have to admit. Definitely. Right, I'm out and about again. Right, I'm out. And the trails are still forming. Slightly. The joys of being a gardener. Yes, van is full, but eyes to the skies. Look, what can we see? More trails being formed. There's quite a lot of it actually. Like I said, I'm out working at the moment. And yeah, it's kind of, I'm seeing a very small portion of the sky, but I'm nearly finished. Yes. Nearly there, we're getting there. Right, well I'm back. And from what I observed today, there's been a lot of trails. I'm really interested to see the time lapse and the satellite feed. So today's going to be quite a short video. But as I've managed to capture this right in time, look at this. You can see where the line of where the white haze is. Look at that. Which is obviously cirrus. But is it producing a halo around the sun? Kind of. I think so, kind of. So yeah, really interesting. I'll be really intrigued to see what the time lapse shows, because where I was rampant, really rampant of trails. It was, yeah, very interesting. Now, the past couple of days have been very interesting. And I've been quite busy actually. So there we go. So once again, let's observe the time-lapse video on the 28th, Monday the 28th of September 2025. Now, what was interesting about this day, which I've noticed, that the fact that there were a lot of trails throughout the morning. Obviously, I didn't do my normal analysis, obviously tracking the trails and see where the trails are coming from, any commercial airlines, etc., etc. But nevertheless, I have a time-lapse camera filming the sky, and obviously we can observe the satellite afterwards. So let's do this. And if I remember rightly, first thing in the morning, you can see there were trails. There we go. You can see the trails in the sky. But there was this white blanket of haze, as you can see there. Now you can see that cloud cover forming naturally. See it there? It just forms naturally, just like that. It's very billowy. We've got some cirrocumulus in there. Bit of altostratus as well. But then I remember it was around about like 9, 10 o'clock. It kind of went clear from where I was, and I wasn't at home at that point. I was actually working, as you saw in the beginning of the episode. It's really skippy. Really sorry about that, guys. It's shouldn't really do that. Well, I guess you can see the clouds anyway. But nevertheless, I think it went pretty much clear. Might be wrong on that one. Yeah, that's called altocumulus, which is like the ripple effect. All right, we should see the trails now, hopefully. It was around the area where I was working. But would it be over my area? It doesn't really look like it, doesn't it? There's a few trails. I can see a few of them over there. There we go. Right. Okay. What can I observe? White haze with trails. Remember cirrus? You'll find cirrus with trails. That's a very recurring thing. More cirrus. And you should see trails being formed in that wake. There we go. And this is where the trails start to get quite rampant. And they're definitely spreading out. I mean, if you look at that trail there, but it's going to be thick enough to actually block out the sun. This is it. So where I was, there were loads of trails. I mean, loads of them. There were, I mean, this goes to show where I'm just seeing a very small portion of the sky. And I did see some trails in the evening as well. Look at that. There to block out the sun. Right, last but not least, let's go check out the actual satellite feed. And I want to have a look to see where these trails are at and how consistent, how much trails are in the sky in that morning. We need to take in consideration the day. Well, what date was it on that one? Yeah, Monday the 29th. Let's go to, let's say about, yeah. Let's go to 7 o'clock on Monday the 29th. And you can just observe this because this is going to come towards this direction. Let's see the trails. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. What can we see? First things first, this massive cloud cover right there. You can see it moving. But also, you've got a load of trails right there in the mix of that white haze or that white blanket. And I keep seeing that over and over again. This could be cloud seeding. I don't know. But bear in mind, you've got all that. Look at that. It's huge. It's literally dominated the whole of the UK. But let's just concentrate on this area so far, the southwest. Let's just do bit by bit. So yes, the trails are in the mix of this white blanket of cloud. And one immediate explanation is that, well, there's moisture obviously in that area. I mean, there's quite a lot of it. If you look throughout here, especially towards France and even through Birmingham as well. Just skip ahead. There were a lot of trails. There's some photographs of them in the sky. Yeah, and then that white cirrus sort of came in around about just after 12. And then that big bubbly cloud came in, which was the altocumulus. So if you just go back and just observe, let's go back to 8 o'clock. You see it's dominated by this white mass. In fact, look, it's huge. But the trails are more or less in the southwest. Yeah, there's a few in Birmingham. Let's just go back. There we are. There are the trails. So it looked rampant, but are those trails going to block out the sun? Let's go back. Let's observe. Okay. Look at the trails. They're right on the edge line of where this white blanket is. Check it out. Let's have a little look. Are these going to block out the sun? You see the trails there. In fact, for the whole Midwest of the UK as well. Not really. No. I mean, they're still being persistent in the sky, but it's right next to this white haze. I mean, one can say, oh, that's been spared on purpose to literally increase the cloud cover. But look at the cloud cover, all that there. Look at it. You know, it's massive. It's going to dominate the whole UK. So those trails are going to control the weather, is it? Do you understand? Just sort of applying logic, so to speak. But once again, let's have a look, see what the trails are doing. There we go. You can see all the trails. And eventually that white haze dominates England completely, but the trails are still there. But it's not going to block out the sun, is it? There we go. Into evening. So there we have it. On Monday, the 29th of September 2025, did the trails block out the sun? No, it didn't. Again, this is a very reoccurring thing I keep on seeing. You see the trails next to this white blanket, and that white blanket has obviously been blamed on the trails, but to be honest with you, it is a natural cloud. You can trace these white cloud or the white haze going back through many, many years. There's nothing new. And through observing the satellite, you can clearly see the trails were pretty much bang right in the middle and right on the edge line of that massive blanket of cloud that dominated the UK. So that's just one observation we need to take into consideration. So it's never a failed experiment. Geoengineering is a real thing. Chemtrails are real. But let's see whether or not actually blocking out the sun. So find me next time on A Cosmic Twilight on YouTube or Investigate with Nick on Rumble. I shall see you very soon. Take care of yourself.